Alright everybody, welcome to Gaming Gaiden once again. I'm Andrew and I wanted to go over some of the stuff that has been kind of wrong in Mortal Kombat over the years, and maybe they'll fix a lot of this going forward. Okay, so a lot of this was prompted one time when I was talking to a Japanese friend of mine, and we were talking about Mortal Kombat, and I showed him a picture of Sub-Zero or something like that, Scorpion, and he asked me, you know, is he Chinese or Japanese? And I know they have nationalities now, but I don't know if they always did, and I don't think a lot of people in America think about that too much. They're just Sub-Zero and Scorpion. But of course, a Japanese person, and probably anybody that is from Asia, might think that. And I think we just don't think about it that much because it's so part of martial arts fantasy. Ed Boon and John Tobias, the creators of Mortal Kombat, talk about how a lot of the characters and the ideas of Mortal Kombat come from Big Trouble in Little China, and that's just a crazy 80s, you know, romp with no, you know, tie to any reality whatsoever, really. So I can see why people just don't think of Mortal Kombat like that, and I hadn't really until that point either. So there's just a couple things that, and I'm not saying they should change everything. I'm obviously not Asian myself, so it's not my call, but it's just some things that I thought might be worth bringing up just for fun, okay? This is just for fun on my part. But basically, the first one is Scorpion's scabbard is wrong in his belt line. It should be where the blade is facing up and curved upward. But in Mortal Kombat 11, it's facing downward, and it's incorrect. If you watch any samurai movie, at any point, the blade edge side of the sword in the scabbard is always blade up. It's sheathed blade up, okay? Now, I have heard that there are some exceptions, especially if the samurai were on horseback, samurai cavalry, then it would be sheathed blade down, but I'm not sure if they were thinking about that when they were doing this design for Scorpion. There's never any horses or anything with them, so I think that's not really the issue. So hopefully they fix that. And also, for me, subjectively, it looks worse. The traditional way, the Japanese way, just looks better to me. I don't know what it is. It's just a better design. It just looks better subjectively to me overall. So moving on to the next one. There's the character Reiko. He's been in a few games now. I do like his look. I think he's cool looking, but that spelling is not Raiko in Japanese. He looks kind of white to me anyway, but there's just so much Asian influence all over Mortal Kombat, especially Chinese and Japanese, that it's hard not to think that this is not a Japanese name. So if it was the Japanese pronunciation, it would be Reiko, okay? I know what you're thinking. EI should be I, right? That's not correct, because if it's EI in German, you do that, like in Einstein or something like that. That is when it's pronounced like that. But if it is a Japanese name, you would pronounce it A. So EI would be A, so it would be Reiko. So my thoughts are that if they want to keep this pronunciation, they should basically just change it to RYKO, and then we're pretty much done. Then they've solved it. We can keep calling him Reiko. It doesn't seem Japanese anymore. Or they can change it to Reiko. But the other problem with that is Reiko sounds like traditionally a woman's name. Okay? So there's just a lot of things to think about with that name, actually. So, okay. Another pronunciation one. Kitana is just funny because it's so close to kitanai, which means dirty. I know they wanted a fun spelling for katana. I get it. But still, I'm sure this seems a little off for people in Japan. And now moving on into the next one. Raiden or Raijin, yes, L and R, interchangeable in Japanese. And they often will say it kind of with an L sound. So Raiden or Raiden and Raijin, they're the lightning gods in Shinto, which is a Japanese indigenous religion, okay? So you have this lightning character, Raiden in Mortal Kombat. His pronunciation is wrong. There have been some games in the past where they spelled it R-A-Y-D-E-N, which probably solves a lot of it. And honestly, I'm not sure if I want them to change the pronunciation in the game. I'm just so used to Raiden at this point. And maybe that's just, you can just chalk it up to that's just how it's pronounced in English, which personally I think could be fine. I'm just pointing out the difference here. I'm not sure what I would want as far as how I'd like them to change it. But yeah, so Raiden should be Raiden in Japanese pronunciation. Raijin is the lightning god. And I think they have gotten better at this over the years. Again, I'm not of Asian descent, so I can't really say a whole lot. I lived in Japan for 3 years, so I became slightly more sensitive to this kind of stuff and just getting older in general. And it seems like Ed Boon and John Tobias have as well, and the whole Mortal Kombat team, so I get it. I'm just kind of pointing some stuff out that's still sort of around, and maybe there's no great answer for any of it. I'm not really sure. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, always have been. So anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any others. I'm sure there's been a lot over the years. Mortal Kombat's kind of come from pretty humble beginnings to superstardom and ups and downs and everything like that. It's looking like it's in a really good place these days. So anyway, I'm Andrew. This is Gaming Gaiden. Thank you.
Thank you.